Hello, welcome to Salt City Knits. I'm Emily and this is a podcast all about my making, especially the fiber arts. Today I have knitting and quilting to share. This is episode 18 and I am recording in Salt Lake City where I live with my husband and my two youngest children. And it is, what day is it? September 18th. That's the day, September 18th. So I'm really excited to be sharing some fun projects with you today. And first I wanted to start by talking about our shawl along that is going through the months of September and October. And that is just, you can knit or crochet any shawl and share that with the hashtag SCK for Salt City Knits, SCK shawl along, and you'll be entered to win prizes. I realized last week that I didn't share the prizes. I was gonna do that and I completely forgot. So let me share the prizes that I will be giving away. I will be drawing for prizes on my first week, in the first week of October for everything that's entered in September, and for the first week in November for everything that's entered in October. So the first prize is this gorgeous sock set from a homespun house. And this is Hocus Pocus is this colorway. And then this colorway is, I think, Mandarin, Clementine, Marmalade. So that is an excellent, let's see, focus, there we go. An excellent set to be working on in October or anytime. So I will be giving this one away the first week of September. And in addition to this, I will be drawing for another winner that I will be giving away any sock pattern of my sock patterns of your choice. So that is the first prize. And then in October, I will be drawing for a winner for this prize, which I'm very excited about. This bundle here. This is the navy blue is from Yarn Bee, and it is the Yarn Bee Authentic Hand-Dyed Tonal in Dark Denim, and it's 100% superwash merino. Let's see. And then this set of minis, I'm having a focus issue today here. This set of minis from Lay Family Yarn, and this is from their Squiddle Village. Nope, I lied. Iron Bridge collection. Oh yeah, it's a Squiddle Village Yarn Club. And so I thought that those together would make a gorgeous Scrappy bias shawl. And so those will be a bundle together. And then I will also be drawing for a shawl pattern from one of my shawl patterns of your choice. So that will be the giveaway for all the October entries. And that will, like I said, happen, I'll draw that the first week of November. So if you want to enter, again, just post pictures of, you can post whips, and you can definitely double dip with any other knit-alongs that are happening right now. There's so many fun ones. So definitely enter to win those fun prizes. All right. I'm gonna start with a little bit of a life update. And then I have a couple of finished objects, one of which I'm super excited about showing you. And then I only have one whip that I'm going to show you today, and then a little bit of pattern news, and we'll wrap it up. So let's start with that life update. We have had a really fun week. Well, we've had some highs and we've had some lows. So in the highs, one of my favorite activities that I love to do every September is go to the Springville Art Museum's annual quilt show. And it is just something that, it's kind of a tradition. I love to go with family members. Often my sister Deborah and I will go together, but she was in Disneyland this last time. So I guess, you know, whatever. And but this year I went with my mom, my Aunt Mary, and my daughter Aria, and my grandson Adam, and we just had such a fabulous day. We went to the quilt show for a couple of hours and we went out to lunch, and it was absolutely delightful. And so I love the way that this quilt show works. There is everything from more traditional patchwork pieced quilts to collage art pieces, and everything in between. And I have here just a little video of some of the beautiful quilts that we saw there. So it was just so fun to walk around and look at these. And two of my favorite quilts, I got a little bit of video of those. So this first one was probably my favorite. If I were going to pick a quilt to have in my home, I love this one. It's very 1930s inspired with these vintage embroidery panels, and then lots of 1930s colors, just so fun. And I definitely got video of that to send to my friend Amy, who is Taylor S Studios, who I knew would appreciate that as well. So that was a really fun one. But this one was the best in show, and the piecing is gorgeous. It's absolutely beautiful. But if you look at the quilting, it is phenomenal. The way that the quilting created all of these textures and patterns. Oh my goodness, I was absolutely blown away by the amazing skill and patience and artistry that had to take. It's unbelievable. So when you look at all of the plaques next to the quilts, that kind of the information about that piece, they say the name of the quilter at the beginning, meaning the person who pieced it and is the artist, considered the artist. And then later on, it'll show who it was quilted by often. I really felt like this one, that prize should have had the quilter at the top because it was all about the quilting. It was so amazing. So anyway, it was just so much fun to be at the quilt show. And after we went through the museum, we went out into the back little garden and we got a few photos, and we got this awesome picture that is of my mom and my daughter and myself and our grandson. So it's our first 4th-generation photo that we took, and I just love it. I absolutely love it. Even though he was not happy about being in a picture, he was hungry and he was kind of cranky right then. He had had a long day, so that was super fun. And then there was this picture that I really love too, which is of all of us plus my Aunt Mary. Oh, and my cousin Erin. I forgot to mention my cousin Erin was there too. So that was really, really fun. We just had a great time together. The next day, my daughter called and said, "Hey, do you want to go to Gardner Village?" And we didn't get any pictures while we were there, but anybody who lives out this way knows Gardner Village in October is like an amazing place to be. I say in October, it's not October yet, but they're definitely ramping up for the Witch Fest of 2023. So Gardner Village is a fun shopping area that's all of these old houses that are like pioneer era houses that have been moved onto this one plot of land, as well as like a silo and some things like that. And there's a lot of cute little shops. There's a great yarn store there called Willow Hill, and an amazing quilting fabric store called Pine Needles that are there as well. And during the month, during the season, I guess they're actually opening at the end of this week, but they do the Witch Fest, and they have these fun, hilarious, crazy paper mache witches, some of which are animatronic, all over, and you can go and do like a little hunt, like a scavenger hunt for all the witches and stuff, and there's just a lot of fun there. But we went before Witch Fest. We went and did some shopping. I got some yarn for a fun project, and I just hung out with both my girls. My daughter Abby came with us as well. And anyway, we just had a fun time shopping there, and walking around, and the flowers were gorgeous. It's just a really pretty place to be. So we really enjoyed that. So those were two fun things, one day right after the next. But then the next day I came down with a cold, and luckily it has been short-lived. I did all of the vitamin C and zinc and my doTERRA On Guard and everything that I could do, and it seems to have worked because today I feel pretty much back to normal. So that was great. So not so much of a fun weekend, but feeling good now. So that was awesome. All right. Finished objects. I'm going to start with my second pair of socks. So you know I showed the first pair of these last time, and I've officially finished all of the sock tubes that I have. And I'm kind of thinking now I need more. Which the whole point of this is to clear things out. So why do I feel I need to add more? I don't know. But I love them. They're the same as the ones I showed last time. So I'm not going to go into too many details. I can say that after doing 2 full pair of socks with heels, toes, and cuffs, all out of the same purple sparkle colorway that was from Candy Shop Yarns, that I have, I think, 6, was it 6 or 7? Yeah, it was 6 or 7, I don't remember, grams left. So it did take me, I think it was 6. It took me just under 45 grams to do for heels, for toes, and for cuffs, all with this color. So that worked out great. This was a one-of-a-kind colorway from Candy Shop Yarns. And then this yarn, I actually figured out what the name of it is. Unicorn Rainbows. I'm pretty sure it's Unicorn Rainbows. It is still in stock. It is Vesper sock yarns, and you can buy it at Knitterly things. And I have a link. I'll put a link down below. So in the description box, you can find a link to this yarn, but you can still get it. I had my sister do crank a yarn tube, a sock tube for me on her circular sock knitting machine, and then added the heels, toes, and cuffs. And I got 2 full pairs, and these are both for like a women's size 10 shoe, US women's size 10, with a good length of a leg, 2 full pairs out of that sock tube. So I am thrilled with that. I love them. I think they are absolutely adorable. They fit great. One of the tricks I do with my afterthought heels is I always knit 5 plain rounds before I start doing my decreases. So let's see if I can show that, if it'll. So right here, you can see there's just 5 plain rounds of knitting before I start doing the decreases for my heels. I also, this time on these socks, on both pair, because I wanted to get the 2 full pair, I knit 10 plain rounds in this purple before starting the decreases on the toe. I pretty much always, if I am doing a contrast toe, I almost always knit at least 5 plain rounds before doing decreases, because I just like the way it looks better. So, but this time I did 10 just so I could get as much of that striping, what am I trying to say? So I could get as much of the size. Yeah, so basically I could get these to fit the way I wanted them to and have a longer leg. So since I'm cutting everything in, adding the 10 rows here meant I got to keep it in the leg. Does that make sense? Yeah, because adding the 10 rows here meant I moved my heel up 10 rows, down 10 rows. I had to think through that. Adding 10 rows here meant the heel was down 10 rows, which meant the leg was down 10 rows. Yeah, so anyway, it just gave me more leg in those socks. So that is my first finished object. Oh my goodness, you guys, I'm so excited to show you this one. I am not, I'll just tell you right now, I am not a big Halloween fan. Like, it's just not my holiday. I love the fall. And I know so many people, Halloween is the thing, right? And I totally get that. it's just not as much my thing. I don't go in for creepy and I don't know. There's so many like icky things. And I don't really go in for the icky, like the skeletons and the mummies, and I don't know, that kind of stuff is just not my thing. But I know that every year, I always want to watch a couple scary movies. And for me, scary movies might not be the same thing as for somebody else. Or not just scary movies, but like Halloween themed movies. And one of those is often Hocus Pocus, as it is for so many people. And so this year I just got this bee in my bonnet, this idea that wouldn't leave my brain, to make a Hocus Pocus themed colorwork pattern. And so here it is. So I've designed this cowl. I love it so much. I knit this using Malabrigo Rios worsted weight yarn. And it says at the top, I put a spell on you. And then at the bottom, it says Sanderson sisters. And then it has the hairdos for Winifred and Mary and Sarah. And so I just love it so much. From idea to finished, written, ready to go pattern took me 3 days. Because I could not stop obsessing over it. And I just knit like a maniac. So I love it so much. I think it's just a fun little accessory. I would put this on, but I am so warm. So I'm gonna put in some photos here of the finished product and me wearing it. But I absolutely loved making this. I loved coming up with the color combinations. I love the combination of the yellow and the purple at the bottom and the purple and the orange at the top. And I love the fit of it. And anyway, I love the wording on it. I love everything about it. It's so fun. And it is so cozy and warm, which right today is not what I want because it's still in the 80s and my air conditioning is still blowing, as you can probably hear. Oh my goodness. But it was just so much fun. And this is available now. I am naming this the let me make sure I'm telling you the right name. I went through a few names trying to make sure. Yes, the Sanderson Sisters Cowl. And by the time this video is out, it will already be up on Ravelry and on my website. So it is available to you. I did use worsted weight yarn. However, you need so little of the black and the yellow. You use a little bit more of the orange and the purple, but you use so little of the black and the yellow that you don't want to go out and buy full skeins of worsted weight. I have gauge swatched, and you can totally do this with 2 strands of fingering weight held together. So even though technically 2 strands of fingering weight equals DK weight, there's enough extra space when you're knitting 2 strands together that it'll give you that plumpness that you need for it to fit into that same gauge. So find scraps. You can totally make this with scraps. Isn't that fun though? The colors I used, the background is, these are all Malabrigo Rios. The background is ivory. The black is just called black. The orange is glazed carrot. The purple here and here is called Sabadoria. And then the yellow is Frank Ochre. And it's kind of yeah, I just love that yellow. I love the yellow and the purple together. Look at that. Isn't that fun? Oh, it was just so much fun to make. Super, super fun. And it's the same front and back, so it just repeats around. It's such a blast. So that is my other finished object that I can show you. Again, I still have secret things that are not showable yet. It's gonna be literally October before I can show you any of those things, so no fun. Okay. I mean, they are fun, but waiting is hard. Okay, so my other work in progress that I can show you right now is this quilt that I am making for my grandson. I'm just pulling extra strings off of it. Okay, we'll just pretend they're not there. So I am making this quilt for my grandson, and it's taking me forever to finish the quilting. I'm almost done with it. It's almost to the point where I can bind it, but not quite there. And I think I showed maybe the finished quilt top. I really love some of these woodland fabrics, like this one here. Isn't that fun? Let's see, there's this one with the little, that's upside down. Let me turn it around here. The little hedgehogs. Oh my goodness, so fun. And then the back, which is where you can really see what has been quilted and what hasn't, are these little woodland animals. So much fun. My daughter and I picked out these fabrics together, and it's going to be bound in similar fabric to this one, in this orange. I'm doing a very simple hand quilting just around the herringbones. And I will put a link. Now I've got fuzz all over me thanks to that quilt batting. I will put a link in the description box to the pattern website, but it's entirely made out of half square triangles. So it's one of those that's really fun to make because you just make a whole bunch of half square triangles, and then it's one of the ways you can put half square triangles together to get a fun quilt. Because I am hand quilting this, I started it out on my my Q-Snap small quilting frame, and I hand quilted the entire center, but now I'm to the point where I just have to do all of the edges. And so I've just taken it off the frame and I've pinned my edges together, and I'm just working it through off the frame because it's mostly quilted, and so it's, yeah, anyway, it's just getting to the point where it's easier to do it that way than constantly reorienting it on my quilting frames. It's very different than like a traditional wooden quilting frame where you quilt from the outsides in. That's the kind of quilting I grew up doing with my aunts and my grandma and my mom, where we would set up the quilting frames in the living room and there would be a big quilt. And, you know, most of us, smaller houses, so there's not like a ton of room to maneuver around. You kind of squeeze your way into that one spot, and then you have to quilt like mad because it's taking up your whole room. So you have to finish it in as few days as possible so you can have your space back. And then as a child, I would play underneath those quilts, and it was fun. It was like having, you know, a little clubhouse or the blanket fort, you know, with all the chairs around, and listen to my aunts and my mom and my grandmother talking. And anyway, I just have so many good memories of that. And that's where we would use the wooden quilting frames, where you would tack the edges to the board, and then you would roll it in to get to the center. Anyway, that's how I grew up quilting. But when it's just me, it's a lot harder to do that. And I just don't have the space to put up a wooden quilting frame in my home. And so I have loved my Q-Snap quilt frame, which is a PVC based quilting frame that I'll also link below. So it's really great, but the downside is doing the edges can be a bit of an annoyance. Most of the time, I just rearrange the quilt repeatedly on the quilt frame so I can get to those edge sections that would normally be covered up by the Q-Snap clamps that hold the quilt in place onto the poles. So anyway, but I was impatient. I just wanted to do it differently. So that is in process. I mean, my original goal had been to finish it before he was born, but then he was 6 weeks early, and so I didn't get it done. And then my daughter needed help, and he needed help, and then we went right into our summit season, our heroic youth season, and so now I'm back to it. It's all good. All right. I need water. There's fuzz everywhere now. Pattern news. So my Sugar House shawl is going to be released in just under 2 weeks on October 1st. And it is, some of my testers have finished it already. Others are, you know, kind of in the middle and so on. But it is ready to go. And so I will be releasing that October 1st. So I got some new photos, and my gorgeous mom is my model. So thank you, Mom, for modeling for me. And I'm really excited to release this one. It will be available for those who are wanting to cast that on for the October section of our shawl along. I think that is everything that I have today. So this is a short episode this week, but it's been super fun to talk to you. So I will be back next week, and I look forward to checking in and seeing how you are doing and how you're coming on all of your projects. And until then, have so much fun with all of your making, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.